Welcome to Trains Around Scotland for January 2023. Wasting no time, let's get right into the action. So kicking things off nice and early on the 2nd of the month at Howwood. For first a diverted for M27, 0648 Mossend to Daventry Russell's Intermodals with 68 009 and 003. That same day at Milliken Park, where we would see 4S43, the 1334 Daventry to Mossend Tesco Express. All of these modals are diverted via Ayrshire due to a landslip that had happened near Carstairs a few days before this was filmed. 66433 providing the power. Then finally, in the last few minutes of sunlight on the 2nd, we would return to Howwood, only this time just south of the station, to see 4M48, the 1516 Mossend to Daventry, operated with 68 007 solo. Cartland now on the 7th, and the West Coast Main Line is open again at Carstairs. However, strike catch would be taking place on this day, but nonetheless, this was 4Z43, the 1336 Daventry to Mossend Tesco Express, with 88 005 and 009. Then to Ravensstrother for one of the highlights of the day, being DB Class 90s heading north during the daylight hours, which is usually impossible to see on a working timetable. However, it was retimed to be 4Z50. Early 1550 turned up at 1420 Daventry to Mossend with the 2X Grand Central liveried 90s 020 and 026. To Willesden on the 8th for the Caledonian Sleeper empty stock move, as the strike action had ended the day before. So this was 5M16, the 1156 Polmadie to Inverness, with now GBRF but still in colourless colours, 67023 and 73971. Kilmarnock now on the same day for OS08, the 1822 Derby RTC to Kilmarnock light local move, with 37884 bringing 37800 sporting its new Rail Operations Group livery. 800 was brought up doing a test run. So because 37800 was only on a test run, 37884 would work solo the day after on the 9th on 5Q06. 1144 Kilmarnock to Yoker CS returning 318253 back from refurb. Sometimes random and unexpected moves happen on days that you just simply cannot plan for, as seen on the 13th, now back at Cartland, and the night before the Caledonian Sleeper had ran into some issues with the electrics at Birmingham, and it meant it would arrive at Preston that same morning at 0904 and awaited a path north to Polmadie. So here it is with all 16 coaches on 5S26, the 1418 Carlisle to Polmadie operated with 92043. Okay, so far we've had planned and unplanned days, but unfortunately there are also those days where things just don't quite go to plan. This is the 16th at Barassie, where we see Freightliner 66541 working OJ66, 1143 Millerhill to Barassie Yard. Here at Barassie Yard, 66541 was supposed to collect a rake of wagons then head south to Crewe, but instead it was decided that no wagons need to be transported, so 66541 then changed its head code to OZ66, the 1307 to Crewe, seen here at Gateshead. To Hunterston now on the 18th for the weekly flasks, with the work well on its way to emptying the plant of all nuclear material. On this day, loading of the flasks took a little bit longer than usual, with 6M23, the 1217 to Sellafeild starting around half an hour later than normal, with DRSE 68017 and 005 providing the power. From the Hunterston docks to Hunterston Junction, it is a mere 5 miles an hour along that entire branch, allowing you to be able to chase the Flash to another spot. This is Dalry Road near West Coatbridge at around 13:27. The day of the month was to be had on the 19th at Carlisle, with no less than 12 different interesting moves, with the first being for M48. The 1912 Mossend to Daventry operated with 66, 424 and 427. Followed by 4S57, the 1931 Hams Hall to Mossend with 66, 739. Then a rare sight would present itself that night, with 4L81, the early 2013 Coatbridge to London Gateway being two green 90s, 90s 041 and 042. Then would be 4S44, the 1953 Daventry to Mossend with 88003. Then it's a look at one of the newest freight flows, being 4S54, the early 2039 Crewe to Coatbridge, being a mere 2 days old as of the time of filming, 90s 044 and 048 providing the power. Then was 1M20, the 2026 Glasgow Central to Crewe, which is the last Avanti service to Glasgow that is a booked Voyager, 221, 113 and 106 getting the honours. Then was 4M30, the 2038 Grangemouth to Daventry operated with 90s 020 and 034. Now the last booked flow south to England is still DB Class 90 operated with the temporary death of 4M25. Then was for S38, early 2132, Seaforth to Mossend with 66001. Cutting that video short, and it's a quick dash across the platform for 5C11, 2106 Polmadie to Edinburgh Sleepers with 92014. Then was 6040, early 2151 Rutherglen to Beattock Tamper with DR 73803. The next train was the most unexpected train of the bunch, being the Royal train on a little excursion to Scotland, and more specifically Ayr to pick up the King, who was visiting Dumfries House. Working 1Z34, then later that night would head to the Merseyrail network. Supposedly Royals also like getting rare track haulage, 67, 005 and 006 providing the power. An even more interesting move would then come up, being 6Z79, 2133 Derby RTC to Motherwell TMD, operated with 37218 with one Network Rail Mark II coach. Then finally, to round out this perfect evening, was 1S20. 2201 Willesden to Shieldmuir Mail Terminal with 325 004 and 014. Coatbridge Central now on Saturday the 21st, and with the threat of DB withdrawn all Class 90s from freight workings due to the rise in electrical prices, a race was on to get 4M30 whilst it was still 90s. The 1143 Grangemouth to Daventry with 90s 020 and 034. Then seen here at Cartland one last time around 1318. Then to Green Falls for this month's PLPR, being 1Q77, 1407 Mossend to Inverness with 43s 257 and 272. The day after, and it's off to Howwood for a bit of DRS Class 68 action on engineers on 6K02, 1330 Elderslie to Carlisle, 68018 getting the honours. 25th now, and it's up incredibly early for what was supposed to be a trip to Newton for the mentor test train, but instead the train ran around 50 minutes early through Newton and around the Hamilton Circle to Mossend, instead of going via Polmadie like it was supposed to. But nonetheless, arriving with a mere 2 minutes to spare, we see 1Q18 Preston to Mossend with 37s 421 and 254. Then after a quick bit of breakfast, we would then see 6S54, the 0630 Carlisle Kilmarnock to Hunterston low level with 68018 leading 88010, seen awaiting a path out of Motherwell. Then was a VST 5Z66, 0651 Shieldmuir Mail Terminal to Mossend Down Yard with 325004. My last catch on this day would be 1S26, the 0658 London Euston to Glasgow Central Highland Sleeper with 92033. Then it was to Hunterston to try and see the Flasks. However, tragedy would strike as 88010 and one of the FNA wagons would have brake issues, so a rescue loco had to be sent up. The rescue loco would then be seen at Paisley Gilmer Street under OZ23, the 1646 Carlisle Kilmarnock to Hunterston low level with 88007, and would then drag the Flasks back south that night around 3 hours late.